Hi, y'all. We're back for week 13 in Genesis. This will be our last week in Genesis. It's going to be a short week. We've got chapter 49 and 50 to go through, and that's it. Before we get started, we have our Romans pullover sweatshirt. This is for screen, and then our God's version horizontal bar with cross cutout. Let's get into it. Jacob blesses his son. Then Jacob called for his sons and said, "Gather around so I can tell you what will happen to you in days to come. Assemble and listen, sons of Jacob. Listen to your father Israel. Reuben, you are my firstborn, my might, the first sign of my strength. Excelling in honor, excelling in power. Turbulent as the waters, you will no longer excel. For you went up onto your father's bed, onto my couch, and defiled it. Simeon and Levi are brothers, their swords are weapons of violence. Let me not enter their council, let me not join their assembly. For they have killed men in their anger, and hamstrung oxen as they pleased. Cursed be their anger so fierce and their fury so cruel. I will scatter them in Jacob and disperse them in Israel. Judah, your brothers will praise you. Your hand will be on the neck of your enemies. Your father's sons will bow down to you. You are a lion's cub, O Judah. You return from the prey, my son, like a lion crouches and lies down, like a lioness who dares to rouse him. The scepter will not depart from Judah, nor the ruler's staff from between his feet, until he comes to whom it belongs, and the obedience of the nations is his. He will tether his donkey to a vine, his colt to the choicest branch. He will wash his garments in wine, his robes in the blood of grapes. His eyes will be darker than wine, his teeth whiter than milk. Zebulun will live by the seashore and become a haven for ships. His border will extend towards Sidon. Issachar is a raw-boned donkey lying down between two saddlebags. When he sees how good is his resting place and how pleasant is his land, he will bend his shoulder to the burden and submit to forced labor. Dan will provide justice for his people. As one of the tribes of Israel, Dan will be a serpent by the roadside, a viper along the path that bites the horse's heel, so that its rider tumbles backward. I look for your deliverance, O Lord. Gad will be attacked by a band of raiders, but he will attack them at their heels. Asher's food will be rich, and he will provide delicacies fit for a king. Naphtali is a doe set free that bears beautiful fawns. Joseph is a fruitful vine near a spring, whose branches climb over a wall. With bitterness, archers attacked him. They shot him with hostility. But his bow remained steady. His strong arm stayed limber, because the hand of the mighty one of Jacob, because of the shepherd, the rock of Israel. Because of your father's God who helps you, because of the Almighty who blesses you, with blessings of the heavens above, blessings of the deep that lies below, blessings of the breast and womb, your father's blessings are greater than the blessings of the ancient mountains. Then the bounty of the age-old hills, let all these rest on the head of Joseph, on the brow of the prince among his brothers. Benjamin is a ravenous wolf. In the morning he devours the prey. In the evening he divides the plunder. All these are the 12 tribes of Israel. And this is what their father said to them when he blessed them, giving each the blessing appropriate to him. All right, y'all, that's it for chapters 49. We will see you in the next one, chapter 50, the death of Jacob. Until then, be blessed and have a great day. Hi, y'all. We're back again in Genesis week 13. We're in the death of Jacob. It starts in my Bible, it starts in chapter 49 and goes into 50, as you can see. So before we get into that, we have our Roman sweatshirt and our God's version horizontal cross. I'll have them tagged below. It's the death of Jacob, and let's get into it. Then he gave them these instructions. I am about to be gathered to my people. Bury me with my fathers in the cave in the field of Ephron the Hittite, the cave in the field of Machpelah near Mamre in Canaan, which Abram bought as a burial place from Ephron the Hittite, along with the field. There Abraham and his wife Sarah were buried, where Isaac and his wife Rebekah were buried, and there I buried Leah. The field and the cave in it were bought from the Hittites. When Jacob finished giving instructions to his sons, he drew his feet up into the bed, breathed his last, and was gathered to his people. Joseph threw himself upon his father and wept over him and kissed him. Then Joseph directed the physicians in his service to embalm his father Israel. So the physicians embalmed him, taking a full 40 days, for that was the time required for embalming. And the Egyptians mourned him for 70 days. When the days of mourning had passed, Joseph said to Pharaoh's court, "If I have found favor in your eyes, speak to Pharaoh for me. Tell him, my father made me swear an oath and said, I am about to die. Bury me in the tomb I dug for myself in the land of Canaan. Now let me go up to bury my father. Then I will return." Pharaoh said, "Go up and bury your father as he made you swear to do." So Joseph went up to bury his father. All Pharaoh's officials accompanied him, the dignitaries of his court and all the dignitaries of Egypt, besides all the members of Joseph's household and his brothers and those belonging to his father's household. Only their children and their flocks and herds were left in Goshen. Chariots and horsemen also went up with him. It was a very large company. When they reached the threshing floor of Atad near the Jordan, they lamentated loudly and bitterly, and there Joseph observed a 7-day period of mourning for his father. When the Canaanites who lived there saw the mournings at the threshing floor of Atad, they said, the Egyptians are holding a solemn ceremony of mourning. That is why that place near the Jordan is called Abel Mizraim. So Jacob's son did as he had commanded them. They had carried him to the land of Canaan and buried him in the cave in the field of Machpelah near Mamre, which Abraham had bought as a burial place from Ephron the Hittite along with the field. After burying his father, Joseph returned to Egypt, together with his brothers and all the others who had gone with him to bury his father. All right, y'all, we're going to end there, and we'll pick up again with Joseph reassures his brothers. Until then, be blessed and have a great day. All right, y'all, we're back in Genesis week 13, our last week in Genesis. We're going to jump into Joseph reassures his brothers. Before that, don't forget to check the links below for the God's Version necklace and our Romans pullover sweatshirt. This is the 4th screen. All right, let's jump into Joseph reassures his brothers. When Joseph's brothers saw that their father was dead, they said, what if Joseph holds a grudge against us and pays us back for all the wrongs we did to him? So they sent word to Joseph saying, your father left these instructions before he died. This is what you are to say to Joseph. I ask you to forgive your brothers the sins and the wrongs they committed in treating you so badly. Now please forgive the sins of the servants of the God of your father. When their message came to him, Joseph wept. His brothers then came and threw themselves down before him. We are your slaves, they said. But Joseph said to them, don't be afraid. Am I in the place of God? You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. So then, don't be afraid. I will provide for you and your children. And he reassured them and spoke kindly to them. As you can see, sometimes when it seems like all is against you, God has a reason. All right, until next time, be blessed and have a great day. We'll see you again in the death of Joseph. Hi, y'all. We're back in week 13 of Genesis. This is the end of the book of Genesis, the death of Joseph. We have our God's Version necklace, the horizontal bar with a cross cutout, and our Romans sweatshirt. We have the Romans arching across and the 5-8 on the back. All right, let's get into the death of Joseph and the wrapping up of Genesis. The death of Joseph. Joseph stayed in Egypt along with all his father's family. He lived 110 years and saw the 3rd generation of Ephraim's children. Also the children of Machir, son of Manasseh, were placed at birth on Joseph's knee. Then Joseph said to his brothers, I am about to die, but God will surely come to your aid and take you up out of this land to the land he promised on oath to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Joseph made the sons of Israel swear an oath and said, God will surely come to your aid, and then you must carry my bones up from this place. So Joseph died at the age of 110, and after they embalmed him, he was placed in a coffin in Egypt. And that's the end of Genesis. We're going to be seeing you guys again in our next in Matthew. We're going to go back and forth between new and old because you can't read one without the other. They both overlap. Until then, be blessed and have a great day. Hi, y'all. We just finished Genesis of the final week of week 13. I wanted to give you a little insight on the next round. We're going to do Matthew. And then after Matthew, we're going to jump back into the Old Testament and do Exodus. And we're going to take this journey going back and forth because the Old Testament references the New Testament and the New Testament references the Old Testament. And I know you're probably thinking, how can the Old Testament reference the New Testament when the New Testament hadn't been written yet? Because our God is awesome and amazing. And he gave some of these insights to the people in the Old Testament. I don't know. However he did it. Some things we cannot understand until it's time for us to understand. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to toggle back and forth, old and new and old as it pertains to everything. And if you're wondering where I got this amazing God's Version necklace, I'm going to have it linked below and you can check it out. This is the rose gold. We have a few other versions and our Romans sweatshirt. These allow me to continue to sit here and read to you, as well as post our verse of the day. I do those myself. I do reference the God's Version, the Bible app verse of the day in another little short. I'll talk to you guys about that. Until then, be blessed and have a great day.